Hello, my dear audiences. How are you doing? I hope everyone doing great, and I welcome all of you, the audiences who are watching live in Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Welcome, and the day has arrived. The day like you are waiting for many hours, right? So welcome again. Today is Nilim Sonowal's talk show, that is live podcast, and it is episode number 2. And today I'm really excited to introduce our amazing guest, none other than Sharon Samuel Ahmed. And now you might be thinking, who is Sharon? Sharon is an obesity reversal coach who helps busy professionals like top executives, leaders, and others take control of their health in a natural and healthy way. Instead of strict diets or hard workouts, Sharon uses very simple lifestyle changes that actually work and last. What is even cooler is that Sharon's approach is based on her own experience. For over 20 years, she struggled. She struggled with obesity and dealt with multiple health issues like diabetes, high cholesterol, or sheep problems. But she is not the person to give up easily. She worked hard. She discovered what actually causes weight issues and reversed all those problems herself. Amazing, is it not? Now, she is on a mission to help million people to get healthier and happier too. Today, Sharon will share her tips on breaking free from obesity and building a healthier life. So, get ready to hear some great advice that might change the way you think about health and fitness. So, please welcome our own amazing Sharon.
Hi
Yes.
Nilim, hi everybody.
Hi.
Thank you
Great to
so
see
much, Nilim, for inviting me to your podcast. I'm really very excited to share about myself, my journey, and whatever knowledge and experience I have with whoever is watching today's podcast. So again, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Sharon. Despite your busy schedule, you have given us time, and our audiences are eagerly waiting to hear about amazing things from you. Okay, so let's begin. Let's begin our journey. So first, tell me, Sharon, like what inspired you to focus on reversing obesity and lifestyle diseases as your area of expertise? And can you share a bit about your journey or like how you develop your unique method for reversing obesity? Please.
Certainly, Nilim. So my journey with obesity began in childhood. So I had childhood obesity, and always this happens that a child always takes on the lifestyle of the family or the parents, and I don't blame the parents because they were also not aware. So slowly and steadily, I started gaining weight, and when I was in my teens, then I developed a problem called PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome, which is again a hormonal, disorder. And because of that, I had a lot of complications after marriage in my pregnancy also. And it never stopped. My weight never reversed. It always tended to increase and increase despite me trying all kind of diets and exercises and everything that one can actually think of. And before, it was just a physical kind of an aspect that I used to feel that I don't look good, I cannot wear the clothes of my choice. Emotionally, it was very disturbing, always comparing myself with others. And but later on, things this obesity actually converted into many other problems. Like, I acquired type 2 diabetes, I had high cholesterol, Because of this diabetes, I was almost on the verge of losing my eyesight, having glaucoma. Thankfully, I got tested at the right time, but I knew none of this. I did not know the connection of, obesity with diabetes, with all the other, problems. Um, but as a normal person, when you're not aware, you're not from a medical background, you just try out whatever comes in your way. So I was also trying different methods, but and I was really, really, concerned about my own health and my future. That what is going to happen. I was almost 110 kilos at a point of time, which is morbidly obese. Okay, and I didn't know what to do about it. My work was getting affected. My personal life was getting affected. Mentally, I was always under stress. Always thinking about how can I reverse my conditions. So I actually came across somebody who followed a particular lifestyle and was able to reverse obesity, and I it was something that I found very interesting. So with me, it's always been that if I want to know about something, I really go deep inside. What is the root cause? What is the science behind it? So when I actually learned about obesity, I studied about obesity for the last 5 years. I don't know how many books I have read. I've taken mentorship and coaching from eminent doctors, international doctors, and from international universities. So then I came to know about the root cause of obesity, and when I applied that science on myself, I was able to lose 30 kilos in a matter of just 6 months. And not just that, I was also able to, reverse my diabetes to a large extent. I had uncontrolled diabetes. My HbA1c was 10.8, which is uncontrolled diabetes. And if I would not have, reversed it, then it would have led to maybe a heart, issue, or maybe cancer, anything. So this was my inspiration. So when I thought of doing something which finding my passion, so I was taking mentorship from one very eminent person, Mr. Dev Gadvi. I'm part of his program. So one of the sessions he said that your passion, if you want to know what is your passion, mostly your passion comes from a deep rooted pain that you have felt. So when I thought about it, that what is my pain, then I suddenly realized that this is what is, something I really want to share with the world. I want to help as many people. I want to add value by helping people reverse obesity. And then I took it up as my passion and my mission. And since then, I've been, helping a lot of people reverse their obesity and also, lifestyle diseases. In fact, in my own family, because as I said, when somebody, it's a lifestyle. So everybody in the family would be obese. My husband was obese. Both my children were obese. And when we applied this lifestyle to, the entire family, all of us have, started becoming much healthier. So this is a short, journey about myself. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's really inspiring. Like hearing your story, I actually got goosebump. Wow, amazing! You reached 110 kilos, then you reduce your weight 35 kilos within 6 months, and you are like, if you are not work on your health, then you might have get some serious diseases, cancer, or many things. Oh, like it's very like horrible. Like when I imagine this, oh wow! But from that stage to now, you have control your life. That is really amazing, and I love your intention, the things like which you have applied in your life now, the same things actually you want to help. There are so many people are suffering this problem. They don't have guidance, and yes, we need leader like you who is coming forward to help others. Thank you. I really I love your mission actually and passion. Thank you. So
Thank you
like
so much.
yeah. So like Sharon, can you tell us like in your view like what are the like root causes of this obesity, particularly in today's fast-paced world? Like
Yeah, so before actually going on to the root causes of obesity, Nilim, I really wanted to share some data which I've been recently studying about the recent statistics of the world and of India on obesity and diabetes. So, India is currently it is among the top three most obese nations in the world. Can you imagine the top three most obese nations, and the other two are US and China, and more than 70% people in India they fall in the overweight category. So this is an alarming situation. This is like an epidemic right now. And secondly, India is known as the diabetes capital of the world. Indians think that we are eating healthy and we have a much healthier lifestyle than many other nations. But can you imagine, India is known as the diabetes capital of the world. More than 100 million people in India are currently they are diabetic, and more than 153 million people are pre diabetic. So this is an alarming situation. And what is worse is that 60 to about 90% of people who are diabetic are overweight or obese. So there is a very close connection between diabetes and obesity. Okay. And now during the discussion, when I will be referring to this very frequently about having obesity and being diabetic, because one leads to the other. Okay. And the alarming situation is that the global market right now for obesity drugs, it is expected to reach $105 billion by 2030. What does this mean? Because there is so much of demand, that means the problem is getting worse and worse day by day. Despite we are more health conscious in today's time. We have access to healthcare facilities. We have access to gyms. We have access to Zumba classes, yoga. I mean, everywhere, social media. It is like a click of a button, and you know what exercise to do, or what maybe some yoga classes. Everything is available. But despite that, you know this problem of obesity and diabetes, it is becoming an epidemic. It is growing day by day. So there has to be something which is going on, which is not right. Right, something in the approach or something which we believe about obesity, there is something wrong. And today I'm going to talk about what are the real root causes of obesity. I'm going to talk about what are the thought process or the myths that people think that this is because they gain weight, or this is the reason why they are not able to lose weight. Okay, so first let us understand that what is obesity. So, I always tell my clients, and I've learned this from my own mentors, you don't need to be worried. In fact, whoever so is watching, let me just give you a few seconds and ask you to maybe take a notebook and a pen, and just maybe if you find something very interesting or there's some learning for you, please note it down. Okay. So, what I have learned is that you don't need to be worried about your weight. Okay, but you need to be worried about your waist. So if you really want to know whether you are overweight or obese, there are three simple formulas that I give. Okay, you can apply any of these formulas and see whether you are overweight or obese. The first formula only takes 5 seconds. Okay, what is this formula? I want you to just wherever you are, I want you to stand straight. Okay, just stand straight, and without bending forward, I want you to look at your feet. Okay, just stand straight and look at your feet. If you are not able to see your feet, instead you are able to see your belly, then this is an indication that it is an alarming situation. You have belly fat, and I will tell why belly fat is a problem. If you think this is not scientific, then the second formula you can adopt is that you can measure your waist circumference. Okay, and you can measure your height. Your waist circumference should be less than half the measure of your height. So for example, if your height is 70 inches, okay, then your waist circumference should be less than 35 inches. If it is more than 35 inches, then there is a problem. Or the third way is just open the any Google and search for calculate my BMI. Okay, and then there is a formula. You just have to feed in the information and you can calculate your BMI. All right. So having BMI of 18.5 to 24.9 is under the normal category, okay, normal weight. If you have BMI of 25 to 29.9, then you are in the overweight category. More than 30 BMI to 34.9 is being obese, okay, and having BMI of 35 to 39.9 is severe obesity, and having BMI of more than 40 is morbid obesity. All right. So I want all of you to just go ahead, do any of these, adopt any of these three formulas and check whether you are overweight or obese. Okay. Now, coming to the question of what causes obesity. So, everybody thinks, and more so, everybody has been made to think that the root cause of obesity is either eating too much calories or eating too much fat, not exercising much, or having a sedentary lifestyle, right? All of you who are listening, I'm sure majority of you believe that this is the reason for obesity. That means, eating more calories and exercising less leads to fat gain. All right. But let me tell you this, and this is very important, that when we eat something, okay, and listen to this very carefully, when we eat something for our body, it is neither a chapati, it is neither rice, it is neither dal, nothing like that, okay. When food enters our body, it is basically broken down into two major things. One is the macronutrients and the other is the micronutrients. So for macronutrients, I'll talk about macronutrients because micronutrients, they form a very small part of the food. So in macronutrients, it is mainly three things. Okay, one is your sugar and carbohydrates, the other is your protein, and the third is the fat. Okay, so what happens is the these get a hormonal response. So whenever we eat something, there is a hormonal response that is created by our body. Okay, and the root cause of obesity has always been one, which is too much sugar and too much of carbohydrates, and I explain why. Because see, carbohydrates, when we consume carbohydrates, they get converted into glucose. So sugar and carbohydrates, you can use them simultaneously, apart from the dietary fiber which is there in in carbohydrates. Okay, so majority of people think that it is the fat that makes us fat. Okay, it is the fat that we eat which makes us fat, and this is the fat that is basically getting deposited in the body. But the reality is that dietary fat, the fat that we are eating, it has actually a very minimal role to play in making us fat. Note this down, it is not the fat, it is actually sugars and carbohydrates or starches. Okay, now these sugars and carbohydrates, they are actually getting converted into fat by the liver, and this, there's a scientific term called de novo lipogenesis, that is making of new fat. So it is not the fat which we are getting, consuming, but it is the fat which is made from sugar and carbohydrates, which the liver converts into fat, and this is the fat which is, getting deposited in our, in and around our vital organs, like your liver, your pancreas, your kidney, and in between these organs, and that is why we get belly fat. On the outside we see the fat, we call it belly fat, but inside what is happening is the entire system within our midsection, all the organs, they are getting filled up with fat. They are literally floating in fat, and this is not coming from the fat that we are eating. It is the fat which is getting converted by the liver from carbohydrates and sugars. And this does not happen overnight, or in a few days, or in a few months. It is a process which has taken several years, 20, 30, 40 years. So you will find people that who are maybe in their late 30s, 35 and above, or in their 40s, they suddenly, start seeing that they have started to get belly fat. Why? Because it is a very gradual process. Becoming obese is a very gradual process. On an average, per year, you might acquire maybe 2 or 3 kilos of fat only, weight. But when you see it over a period of 20 years or 30 years, just see how much fat gets accumulated, how much of weight kind of increases. So, but nowadays, the problem of childhood obesity is also there, but that's a separate discussion altogether. But yeah, when you talk about the root cause of obesity, it is not about consuming too much of fat. It is all about consuming too much of sugar and too much of carbohydrates, particularly the refined carbohydrates. Yeah,
Yeah,
Nilim.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So very like like good things you have shared. Like generally, we think that, oh, if we eat fat, then we'll become fat. Or okay, now you have broken that myth. Actually, the fats are actually we get from this sugar and carbohydrates that is converted by liver. And and another thing you have said, that India is becoming this capital of this epidemic, like diabetic capital, isn't it? And like it's a really alarming thing for every one of us. Okay. Oh, and oh, okay, and then three methods is really. I'm also going to apply those three methods that you have mentioned, like this belly fat and BMI, and that other waist circumference, voila. And good, good. And hello, my audience. I want to say a surprise for you is that though Sharon is giving some tips and sharing her story, she has come up with some gifts for you. Do you know? She has some beautiful Diwali gifts for you, and the people who are going to stay till the end, they will definitely get those beautiful gifts from Sharon. She has made beautifully for you. So please stay tuned. Okay. And here, yeah, again, let's go back to Sharon. So, Sharon, can you tell us like what are the okay, like most common misconceptions people have about this obesity and fat loss? We have so many things like comes into our mind. Like, what are the most misconceptions? Just please throw some light on this.
Sure, sure. So, whenever people ask me, I tell them there are five main misconceptions that people have regarding weight gain and weight loss. The biggest among them is this calorie deception. Okay, what is the calorie deception? Calories in minus calories out is equal to weight gain. That means how many calories you are consuming and how many calories you are actually spending or burning. The balance is, the weight gain. This is a very big misconception. The second misconception is that eating less calories. Okay, now listen to this very carefully. All of us, do this. Eating less calories or controlling your portion size or eating less will make you lose weight. It is a big myth. Okay, eating less calories or eating less food, okay, or controlling your portion size, it is not going to help you lose weight. Third misconception is eating fat makes you fat. Now, this is this whole phobia around fat, which has been going on around, I think, for the since 1970s. In fact, that dietary fat makes you fat. The reason for heart attack is too much cholesterol, and cholesterol basically comes from the fat that we are eating. Okay. Now there again it's a separate discussion. I need another 1 hour to talk about cholesterol, but what is important is that eating fat makes you fat is a myth. Okay. The fourth misconception is that exercise is the only solution to fat loss. So you see, rather than focusing on the right kind of food that we must eat, everybody is, focusing on exercise. See, I'm not against exercise, okay? Let me just clarify this here. Exercise is very good. Everybody should exercise, all right? Because exercise helps you in building muscle, exercise helps you in the your blood circulation, giving you more strength, more stamina. So everybody should exercise, and definitely some amount of weight loss does happen through exercise. Okay, I'm not negating the fact, but when you are actually talking about real fat loss, and here I'm talking about people who are in the obese or morbidly obese category. So there are people who are coming to me who are like 120 kilos, 150 kilos, 180 kilos, 200 kilos. So for them, people who are in that category, exercise is not the solution. Okay. So this is the fourth myth. The fifth myth is that you must eat small, portions of food several times in the day. So you should eat smaller meals, but you should eat them many times in the day, like 4 to 5 times in the day or 6 times in a day. This is the biggest myth. How can you, eat more and think that you will lose the weight? And there is a science behind it which I will explain. So these are the biggest 5 myths that I always tell people, the misconceptions that people carry in the mind, and that is why they are not able to kind of lose weight. Yeah, Nilim.
Right, right. Yeah. These are the common misconceptions. Even I also have one or two misconceptions about this. And thank you for breaking these misconceptions. Yeah, yeah. So next thing I want to ask you is that many people believe that reversing obesity or overweight is like about calorie counting or extreme exercise. You spoke a little bit about this, but like I want to know like what's your take on this, like can you explain a little bit more? Yeah.
Yeah, so every fitness expert or every kind of person who kind of is in this business of helping people lose weight, the first thing they tell them is count your calories. Okay, and how do you assess whether you are going to gain weight or lose weight? Is a simple formula: calories in minus calories out. Okay, now there are 5 assumptions, and which I'm going to break these myths and these assumptions on which this theory of calorie in minus calorie out is based. Okay, listen carefully. The first thing is that the first assumption, in fact, is that calories in, that is what you are eating, and calories out, that is what you are spending, they are independent of each other. Okay, but the reality is they are interdependent. So what happens is that if you reduce your calories, say for example you were eating 2000 calories, okay, and now you start eating say 1800 calories or 1700 calories, you do a calorie deficit of 300 calories. What is going to happen in the body is that the body is actually going to spend less calories. If you eat less calories, the body is going to spend less calories. Okay, and it is going to balance out the equation. Because see, there are so many things going on in the body which are not in our control. You cannot control how much energy or how many calories does our heart need to pump blood. So every function in the body, it requires energy, right? And it comes from the food we eat. So, and we have no control. We don't have control over our breathing. We don't have control on the blood circulation. We don't have control over seeing, hearing, walking, talking. Do we have control? No. The only thing we have control is exercise, nothing else. So to say that this is completely in our control and calories in and calories out is also in our control, this is, we have control on the calories in. I mean, as in how much food we are eating, but we don't have control on the number of calories that our body is going to kind of burn. Okay. Second assumption is that our BMR, the basal metabolic rate, okay, it is stable. That is not the reality. Okay. So if you look at the scientific definition of total energy expenditure, everybody talks about this, okay? The TEE, the total energy expenditure, okay? They think that the TEE or the total expenditure, energy expenditure is only based on exercise or the BMR. But the scientific formula for this is the total energy expenditure or your TEE is the sum of your basal metabolic rate, the thermogenic effect of food, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, your excess post-exercise oxygen consumption plus exercise. So don't worry about the others. But what is important here is that exercise is only a single component of calculating the total energy expenditure. Everything else is a natural phenomenon which is controlled by our own body. We have no control. So, thinking that calories in minus calories out is going to lead to weight loss is not true. Okay, and this is a very complicated and a scientific thing. But what I've told you is that just listen to that and understand that. So now, the third thing is that we have a conscious control over the calories in, as in how much we eat. Now, understand this. Actually, we don't have control over how much we are going to eat because it is regulated by the hunger hormone. Okay, the important thing here is that hormones are the ones which are regulating each and every function of our body, even our hunger. So, if you are not hungry, will you go and eat? Of course not, right? So there are two major hormones which are ghrelin and leptin, which basically regulate when you feel hungry and when you feel full or satiated. Okay, so it is not the calories; it is the hormones that regulate whether we are going to gain weight or lose weight. Okay. Now the fourth assumption is that fat stores in our body are essentially unregulated. That is, it is in our control. So the calories which we are going to eat, they are going to decide, or we are going to decide, where are those calories going to be used. That is not in our control. So these calories can either go and you know develop muscle tissue, for example, or they might go and get used for blood circulation, or they might go and be used by the heart, or they might go and get deposited as fat. So this thing of that we control calories in and we control calories out and we can calculate it automatically, that is a completely failed mechanism, and there have been numerous studies which have proven right from the 1970s, and these studies have been done on lakhs of people over a period of 7 years. I don't want to go into the details of these studies, but they are available on the internet. Okay, more than a lakh of people, they were actually studied over 7 years, and half of them were made to eat this calorie deficit diet, and the others were eating a normal diet. So initially, yes, the population which ate lesser calories did lose some weight, but gradually what happened, they came to a plateau, and then they started to gain weight. And by the end of the 7 years, the people who were doing a calorie deficit diet and those who were having a normal diet, their weights were actually the same. And in fact, the ones which were doing calorie deficit, their weights were slightly increased. So there has been enough and more study and research, and this has been proven time and again that this whole calorie, phobia and this calorie deficit thing, eating less calories, exercising more, does not work for real fat loss. Okay,
Okay, okay, okay.
so
Right, right. So yeah, like we have heard about these things like this diabetes, and we are talking about so many like things, high blood pressure, heart diseases. So like how actually does obesity contribute to these lifestyle diseases? Like,
see, obesity is actually, it is not a problem. Okay, everybody thinks obesity is a problem, but
mm,
obesity is a symptom. What
mm,
is the symptom? Obesity tells you that boss, something is going wrong in your body.
mm,
Okay, we get worried about becoming fat, looking bad, all of that. But this is a very strong signal that your body gives you that there is something actually going on in your body which is not right, because of which you are gaining weight. And the other thing is, obesity is a hormonal imbalance. It is not a caloric imbalance. Okay, this is very important to understand. So, as I said, when we eat food, it gets broken down into components. Major being your macronutrients, the carbohydrates, the fats, and the carbohydrates, the fats, and the proteins. Okay, now when we eat food, it mainly consists of these three components, the macronutrients. But when we eat them, we get a very different hormonal response to each of these components. Say, for example, and the most important hormone that regulates, fat deposit or fat, burning or weight loss is insulin. and people can note this down. The most important hormone which regulates fat gain or fat loss is insulin. So, what happens when we eat carbohydrates and sugars? There is a very high insulin response. Why? Because what the body wants is that these are getting converted into glucose. Okay, now body needs energy. So what insulin does is, and insulin is secreted by the pancreas. So insulin ka what is the role? Insulin will basically take the glucose from your blood, and it will basically put it in the cell so that it can make energy. So this is the primary role of insulin. So carbohydrates and sugars. When we consume more carbohydrates and sugars, we have a high insulin response because this has to actually go inside the cell. The second is your protein. Now protein, when we eat protein, we do get a insulin response, but it is not very high. It is very minimal. Okay. And the third is dietary fat. When we eat fat, there is almost no insulin response. Okay, so this is very important, and I will show you how we become fat because of high levels of insulin. So what happens is that when we continuously, as I said, we have not become fat overnight or maybe in a few months. There has been a gradual process over the last 20, 30 years because of a certain food habit and because of certain lifestyle, and that is primarily consuming too much of sugar and consuming too much of carbohydrates in our food. Our insulin levels have been always elevated consistently for a very long time. And nowadays, what happens? See, every time we eat, there will be a response of insulin. So earlier we used to eat, 2 to 3 times in a day, but nowadays we are eating almost, 8 to 9 times in a day. So we'll have breakfast, then we go to office, we have chai, then along with chai we have biscuit or something. Then we are going to have our, lunch. After lunch, we'll again have a cup of tea or coffee, and with that we'll again have a few biscuits or something. Then we come back home in the evening. Again, we want a cup of tea or we want some snacks. Then we have dinner. And then after dinner, we want to watch Netflix and we want to eat something. So, how many times we are eating in the day? Every time we are eating, the insulin will go up because it has to take that glucose from this food, it has to put it in the cell. But understand this. So if there is a consistent high level of insulin for the last 20, 30, 40 years, this is the kind of lifestyle we have maintained, then your body is basically, it starts to have too much of insulin. This is the overflow phenomena. And because there is so much of excess sugar all the time, there will be too much of insulin which has to regulate it. Now over a period of time, what happens is that, and before that, in fact, what happens to this sugar and carbohydrates. Now this sugar and carbohydrate, it has to go to the liver, because the liver is the organ which basically uses this up, and it kind of releases it again into the bloodstream whenever we need energy. So what happens is that inside the liver, this fat and this carbohydrate and sugar, it basically gets converted into glycogen. Okay, and it is stored inside the liver. Now, what happens is that liver is a very small organ. It does not have too much of capacity. So, what it does is, after this carbohydrate and sugar, it gets converted into glycogen. The reserves are already full. It doesn't have more space, so it converts them into fat. Okay, and after it converts it into fat, it puts it into storage mechanism. It's like, you get money, so you keep some money in your wallet, okay, so that you can use it up whenever it is required. And you have too much of money, you get these big trunks of, cash. What will you do? There were these raids which the CBI used to do, and we used to get so excited. Somebody's house, they found money in their almirah, money in their bed, money in their, all the places inside their house, and even in the walls, people used to put. So it's the same thing. When there is so much of excess of sugar, so much excess of carbohydrates, what is the liver going to do? It will convert it into fat, and it will store it for later use whenever it is required. So liver can take this fat out and again make it into glucose and give it to our body. Okay, but because there has been so much of excess sugar, excess carbohydrates over the last so many years, now the body gets filled up with glucose, the body gets filled up with fat, and the body gets filled up with insulin. And later on, what happens is that our body becomes insulin resistant. Okay, resistance means when you have too much. Like it's a suitcase, it is full, and you want to put five more clothes inside. What will happen? It will become resistant. You can't put any more clothes. It will not. The suitcase is not going to close, right? It's the same thing which is happening inside the body. So to keep it short, this is a too much. This is a overflow phenomenon of having too much sugar and too much of insulin, which leads to having diabetes, type 2 diabetes particularly. All right. So there is this different stages. The first stage is too much insulin. I mean, first stage is too much of glucose in our blood. Then the second stage comes too much of insulin. Third stage comes our body becomes insulin resistant. Okay. The fourth stage come is type 2 diabetes. And type 2 diabetes, is the root cause of more than 200 problems which we can have, including your heart problem, your cancer, kidney problem, liver problem, cirrhosis, then loss of vision, nerve damage, loss of memory, even death. People don't die because of diabetes, okay? Majority of people die because they have diabetes, and because of diabetes they had maybe a heart attack or cancer or maybe things like that. So that is the way in which having too much of sugar and carbohydrates, having too much of insulin leads to type 2 diabetes. And because of type 2 diabetes, people start acquiring a lot of diseases. And diabetes, obesity are both very closely related, because insulin gives a signal to our body to store the fat. Okay, that is a signal. So till the time insulin is high, the body will always be in a fat storage mode, and we don't use up this fat ever. It is there in the stores, and exercise cannot make you, take out this fat from your liver, from your kidneys, from your pancreas, and burn it off.
Right, right, right,
This
right.
is,
Yes.
maybe it was more scientific, but yeah, this is how it is.
Mm. So, audiences, please look after like the things, sugar and carbohydrates. Just take care of this intake. So, if you take care of this intake, then you can control your many more things. So like yes, now Sharon, like, so you have so beautifully explained the things in a very similar it's a simple manner, the examples that bank wala, oh I love that and it will remain in my mind. And thank you for sharing that beautiful example. Now let's talk about that we have developed something unique, right? So, we are eagerly waiting to hear what is your unique approach to this reversing obesity. So, can you walk us through the key pillars of your method, unique method? Sure.
Yeah, so thanks, Nilim. See, it's very simple. Okay, obesity is a dietary problem, and it can be reversed by a dietary intervention. It's as simple as that. Okay, it happened because of excess of sugar, excess of carbohydrates, particularly refined carbohydrates. So it can easily be reversed with that. Now the thing is, our body has two choices. Either it can burn sugar for energy, or it can burn fat for energy. It cannot do both things at the same time. So till now, people have been burning sugar for energy. Okay. Now in my program, I do a 3 month program initially, and depending upon what is the complexity of the person, then I decide whether further, longer program is required or not. But I always start with a 3 month program because people get very good results. Okay. So what I do is I basically make people a fat burning machine. So it's the tagline, I always say this, that do you want to become a fat burning machine? Because what does this mean? That means that from a sugar burner, I help you become a fat burner. So that, all that money which was there in the almirah, in the bed, in the walls, basically think about it as a fat, okay, which is deposited everywhere in the body. So this program, which I basically mentor people, I help them take deposited fat from the inside the organs and everywhere, and use it up to make energy, because that is the only way in which you can lose weight. Okay, and there is a three-step process which I follow. The first
Okay.
is that you become fat adapted. Okay? Becoming fat adapted. The second step is that you basically bring down the weight set point. So there is a phenomenon called the weight set point of the body, and that is the reason why when people lose certain weight and they gain it back after some time. So this is the main reason why they regain the weight, because like a thermostat, like an air conditioner, which regulates the temperature in the room. Similarly, the weight set point is regulating our weight gain and weight loss. So because our weight set point is now set up at a very high, say for example, 90 kgs, 100 kgs, 120 kgs. The second step is to bring it down, and there's a process. Okay? The third is that you become a fat burning machine and you start recycling your body fat to make energy. So this is the entire transition that a person goes through when they come into my program. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, become the running machine with Sharon. Like she is like the mechanic, the god. She will make you a fat burning machine. Definitely, definitely, we are looking for that one. We want to become the fat burning machine. Okay. So like nowadays, like people are busy, the professionals are busy. Okay, isn't it? So, like, what are the biggest challenges that busy professionals face when they try to lose their weight, and like how do you help them overcome like those things?
See, the thing is that the biggest challenge people have is they are following the wrong advice. Yeah. So I'll tell you, there, and this has become such a big business. I mean, I look at social media every day, and then I see somebody saying, I will help you lose weight by making you eat chola bhatura and ice cream. So I mean, and people see, of course, nobody wants to take up a tough thing. People want life to be easy. So then people believe them that okay, eating chola bhatura can make me lose fat. Let me go into the program. Okay, and then nothing happens, and then they think, and then there's a blame. There's a big thing called the blame the victim card, which everybody plays. That I am not giving you wrong advice. Okay, my advice is correct. You are the one. You are the culprit. You have done something wrong, and then you start believing that yes, I have done something wrong. I was not exercising, so I was not losing weight, or maybe I ate too much of calories. That is why I did not lose weight. But the thing is, it is not your fault. Okay, the advice which is there in the market, majority of that advice is wrong, and it's not, and people have been following it. So that is the main thing, following the wrong advice. And let me tell you, you can lose weight by eating things which are there in your kitchen and which are there in your fridge. You don't need to make fancy meals and all kind of recipes. No, everything. So I do a plate audit, a food plate audit. I help people understand. Okay, so
Okay,
whatever is there in your plate, from amongst that thing, what will make you gain fat and what will make you lose fat. It is as simple as that. So I handhold the people over these 3 months
that's
by
nice.
very
That's nice.
simple mechanisms. Okay.
That's nice. Like people, oh, like many times we think that oh, I should not eat that one or that one. Now we have the option to eat the things we like, but we have to if you follow some process or guidelines, then we can definitely have we can definitely get that results. Yes, of course, the good news for everyone, for many of you, right? Right, my audiences. Okay, okay. So the next thing, like I want to ask you that so our mindset our mindset also plays a big role. So I want to know from you that what role does our mindset and mental health play in successfully reversing this obesity or overweight? Can you tell
See,
us?
mindset is very important. Okay. And what do I mean by mindset? First thing is that you need to love yourself the way you are. That is the first thing you should do. Lot of people get, and I actually got into the self hatred mood. I stopped liking myself. I stopped looking at myself in the mirror. I just hated myself, and that irritation, that frustration, it kind of builds up. It is not going to help. Okay. So first thing is that you really need to, love yourself the way you are. Second thing is that apart from the food that you are eating, your stress levels and your sleep, they are the two important contributors towards fat gain, because both of them. So if you sleep less, maybe you should, if you're sleeping like 4 hours, 5 hours, but you should be sleeping 7 to 8 hours. So what does that do? You next day when you get up, you feel very tired, you feel very stressed out. So stress is a very big contributor, because again it's a matter of hormone. Okay, the stress levels, they increase cortisol, and cortisol, when cortisol is high in the body, again it is a relationship with insulin. Insulin will also be high if your cortisol is high. So at the end of the day, it's a matter of insulin. But yes, cortisol or your stress is very much contributing to fat gain. So you should really do things like meditation, and maybe go out for a walk in the nature, play with your children, play with your pets, listen to some music, and bring your stress levels down. That is also very important.
Okay, okay, okay. Good, good, good. So, like, the thing is, like, can you suggest us like some like small or sustainable changes like people can start making from today to improve on their overall health and prevent obesity?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
First thing, I would not say extreme changes. Simple changes is stop snacking in between meals. Start with eating 3 times in a day. That is the first thing you should do. Stop eating anything, whether it is a small biscuit or a protein bar or anything. Snacking is not good for you. Okay, eat full stomach, eat good food. I mean, and real food, but don't snack in between meals. That is the first thing. Second thing is, please don't eat food which is coming in packets, which is processed food, because majority of the food which is there, whether it is certain kind of biscuits or namkeen or chips or things like this, even so-called healthy food, we think of instant oats, for example. We think of these shakes and all. These are actually, they are not even foods. They are merely edible substances which have been created in the using certain combinations of chemicals. The process of refining itself is so bad that that is a big culprit. So eat food which is more close to nature, identical to nature, the way it is there in the nature. So rather than drinking fruit juice, please have a fruit. That will not harm you. But if you drink fruit juice, that is pure sugar.
that's true. Mm.
Eating 2 pieces of bread, one piece of bread is equivalent to 3 teaspoons of sugar. So if you're eating two pieces of bread, it is equivalent to having 6 teaspoon of sugar. And how much sugar your body needs in a day is only 1 teaspoon. That also it can produce itself. So body, there is nothing called essential carbohydrates. Body does not require them. Have carbohydrates, but you should have them from coming from green leafy vegetables, cruciferous vegetables. These are natural sources of carbohydrates. Please don't go into refined things like pasta, noodles, burgers, pizzas. Have them as much limited as you can. Don't make it a regular habit of having all this. And the sugary drinks, the colas and fruit juices and energy sports drink, they are all pure sugar. So this is the first step that people can take to reverse, and certainly they will see a lot of difference once they stop doing eating these kind of foods.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And one beautiful thing I learned is that two pieces of bread is equivalent to one spoon, like one spoon of sugar.
No, 2 pieces of bread is equal to 6 spoons of sugar.
Oh, two pieces of bread equivalent to six pieces of spoon. Oh my god.
So if
Oh my god.
I've done an audit of the entire normal food that we eat in a day, it is actually somewhere around, I think around 70 to 80 spoons of sugar that we are eating. Not sugar, but carbohydrates which are getting converted into sugar as well. That is the
Okay.
quantity of sugar we are consuming, whether it is table sugar. So people think, I stopped having sugar in my tea. That is not enough. There is a lot of hidden sugar. The high fructose corn syrups and all these things which are there in packaged food. This is all
Yeah,
sugar, hidden
yeah,
sugar which you are eating.
yeah. Hidden sugar. Yeah, we are eating more hidden sugar actually, right? Than actual
Yes,
sugar. Hmm.
yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like so the our audiences are listening very patiently from the beginning. So like what is the one message like you would like to share like with your audiences so that they can take away from our conversation today?
Yeah, so this is something again which I learned from my mentor. Dr. Eric Berg, he always says this, that don't lose weight to become healthy. Okay? Don't lose weight to become healthy. Become healthy and lose weight. Because if you become healthy, then actually weight is a byproduct of not being healthy. Okay? So when you become healthy, then automatically your weight will come down. So people focus on weight loss. People focus on, fat. How can I lose weight? You should
Yes.
focus on how can I become healthy.
Yeah,
That
that's a
is the,
very um,
yeah,
that's a very beautiful message. That's a very so become healthy, then lose your weight, right? This is what you're
yes,
saying, right? And
yes.
don't lose your weight to become healthy, but become healthy and you lose weight. Oh, mind blown, mind blown. I love this message. Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, like, can you share like any success stories from your clients, like who have like reversed their obesity or this overweight problem, and they have transformed their lives through your method?
Yeah, yeah. So, see, an average weight loss of about 12 to 15 kilos is a normal phenomenon in 3 months of all people who join the program, my 3 months program. And if they follow the process, obviously you have to follow the process, only then you will get result. So people who follow the process, they are able to lose 12 to 15 kgs very easily in a matter of 3 months. Now there are people who have, reversed their diabetes to a large extent. There are people whose cholesterol levels were very high. So after 3 months, I make them do certain medical tests before the program and after 3 months, and they can see the difference. Okay, it's not just the weight, but as I said, obesity is connected to a lot of health issues. So when you start losing weight, all these other problems also start to reverse. So you will never see people, any doctors and somebody saying that obesity is completely reversible. They say it is not reversible. It can only be managed by medicines. So there are people like my own husband. He left his diabetes medicines, his cholesterol, blood pressure medicines in January. Okay, he was diabetic, and now when we got tested, he is completely out of diabetes. His blood sugars are normal. His cholesterol, blood pressure levels are under control. So
Oh,
it's a very
awesome.
simple thing. They have overcomplicated the entire thing.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yes, great. That's great to know. And you have got the result in your family itself, and I have heard that you are helping people from other part of the countries as well, like
Yes,
US, South Africa. They are approaching to
yes.
your for your health, and it's really beautiful. And
Yeah, so
she
in the last 1 month, actually, I have expanded my support in to the US, to Africa and the Middle East, along with India. So it's a new challenges for me because, especially for Africa, Ethiopia, their cuisine is completely different. I have never even heard about their meals and their recipes. So I had to study everything to actually make a meal plan for my new mentee. So I'm really enjoying learning about new cuisines. And the thing is, there's so
mm,
much of satisfaction and peace that I draw by
yeah.
helping people and actually seeing the difference, seeing the
Mm,
change which is happening, and the blessings and the good words that people say to me after they are able to achieve results. It is so peaceful. It is so fulfilling inside
mm,
my heart that I really feel really grateful to God that I got this inspiration of starting my journey of helping people reverse obesity and other lifestyle diseases.
lovely, lovely. So it's very really inspiring. It's very inspiring. So like our audiences are also listening very patiently, and like so like our audiences, I'm talking on behalf of our audiences, that like how our listeners or audiences can learn more about your work or access your resources or program to start their own health journey.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
so there are a number of couple of Diwali gifts which I have for everybody because we have Diwali around the corner. So
Yes.
if you want to know more about me, you can actually visit my website. It's called fitwithsharon.com. FIT fit with
With
WITH with Sharon SHARON fitwithsharon.com. Maybe you could write in the comments, and maybe after
yeah,
this live video is over, we will include all the
yeah,
links in the comment section so people
yeah,
can
comments.
go back and access all the links. Okay. So one is my
Yeah.
website. Okay. The other is
Feed with
that
Sharon. Feed with Sharon. Okay. Yeah.
fitwithsharon.com. Yeah, so you
Yeah.
can go
Yeah.
and look at my website. The
Yeah.
other is that, and you will get a lot of information. So there is an ebook, okay, which I created, and I want to give it as a gift to everybody who's
Oh,
listening
that is
today.
Diwali bonus. Diwali's bonus for all
So you can
us.
actually, and you can access it through my website also. Okay, you can
Okay.
just download that ebook. It is called the Busy Professionals Blueprint for Successful Weight Loss, for Sustainable Fat Loss. Okay, so
Hmm.
it is all for busy professionals how you can actually achieve sustainable fat loss. So just download that ebook, it is absolutely free. The second Diwali bonus or the Diwali gift which I offer is I'm offering a free one on one strategy call with me now because I only had 1 hour and there's so much that I have to share, and I have a very personalized approach. Everybody's problems are different. So if people want to really, connect with me, they want to discuss about their specific challenges on obesity or lifestyle diseases, then I am offering a free 45 minutes strategy call. So you can actually, uh, just 1 second.
Yeah, see, Sharon has come here not only with her words, but she has come here with her some beautiful gifts for our lovely audiences. Like, yes, really, it's a really
Sorry,
Diwali.
somebody was watching the live telecast and I could hear them back, my own voice. So I was just putting the
Okay.
phone on. I'm so
Yeah, yeah.
sorry. Yeah. So the
No, no,
other
it's
was I was saying that free strategy call. Okay, you can get the link again in my website, or maybe we will share it here. So that is the second Diwali gift. And the third is basically I do webinars. I do regular webinars, mostly on Sundays at 10 a.m. So people can actually follow me on social media like my Facebook or my LinkedIn. And if you follow me there, then you will get notifications about my upcoming webinar. So next month I'm planning right after Diwali because I know people are going to put on weight during Diwali. They are going to eat so much. So that is actually the right time to attend my webinar. So it's a 2 hour, again free of cost, 2 hour webinar, which I'm going to do on the 3rd of November. Again, just look out for the notifications and link will be shared. So yeah, that's what.
Thank you, Sharon, for bringing so much value as well as Diwali gift for us. You are giving one free ebook, and anybody can download that from the website feedwithsharon.com. Please take note of that. And another thing is like she is giving our audiences free one-to-one call, and that is of 45 minutes. Guys, please take this chance because it's not going to come again and again. Okay, and the third thing is like she conducts webinar, and she conducts webinar to help the people to live a obesity free and healthy lifestyle. And you can, because you are watching this program, and you can join our webinar, and that is of free of cost. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you so bringing so much things to our lovely audiences. I love it. And guys, she is not only helping like by coaching or mentoring. She is because she wants to help people in different way, and she cannot go to each and every one of your house, but she is very passionate to help others. So what she is doing, she is coming with her amazing book so that you can read her book and you can get benefited. So I want to know, about this. Like she's becoming author, so I want to know from Sharon itself, like about your book that you are going to launch. Please, Sharon.
Yeah, so my book, most probably towards the by the end of this year or maximum in January, I'm going to launch my book. So it is called Decoding Obesity. Okay, decoding obesity, because obesity is a very complex thing which people, so many myths and misconceptions which I shared about. So in that book, basically I want to make it very simple for people to understand what are the root causes of obesity, what kind of lifestyle they can adopt, what kind of foods they can eat. So just in a very simple way, and of course starting from my own story, I'm going to share each and everything that I know, that I have learned in my book, so that more and more people can read my book and learn more about it, and they can become healthy for their lives.
Thank you, Sharon. Like you're really grateful that people like you like have come forward and like helping us, like coming to this podcast show, helping like by writing books, okay, by doing this webinar, so that other people get benefited. And I really appreciate, not only I, the all the audiences really appreciate from their heart. And we all want great success to your mission. Okay, and yeah, so today we have come to the end of the show. But though we wanted to talk more about these things, but we have limited time anyway. And thank you, Sharon. You have like added so much value to this podcast, and I thank from my bottom of my heart, and all the audiences also. They are feeling very grateful. And thank you, all the audiences in four different platforms. That is Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Thank you. You are watching here live. And Sharon, at last, do you want to say anything to our beautiful audiences?
Yeah, so Diwali is around the corner, so enjoy your festival. Happy Diwali, everybody, and
Yeah, yeah.
be safe. And please try and eat less sugar and less sweets on Diwali. That is what the message I want to. But be more concerned about your health, because if you really want to live your dream life, you are
Mm,
earning so much of money, you are saving so much of money, but if that money later on goes to hospital bills or doctor's fees or your medicine, that is not a
mm.
good thing. You have a
Yeah, yeah.
life to live, you have a life to enjoy. So think about it, health is very important. That is what I want to say.
True,
Thank
true,
you.
true. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you. So we end our this podcast, second episode of podcast here with amazing value addition by Sharon. And thank you. Wishing you all happy Diwali. And yeah, good night to all of you. Bye
Good
bye.
night. Thank you so much, Nilim, again for inviting me, and thank you, audience, for
Yeah,
being patient and watching this podcast. Thank you so
thank you.
much.